Hi, this is Craig Anderson with the MSX Group. Welcome to this demonstration on Management Reporter for Microsoft Dynamics ERP. Today we're going to look at the reports that have been created in Management Reporter, as well as take a look at how those reports were assembled. I'll be spending a little bit of time in the viewer in the report library, showing you some of the reports, and then coming back here into the designer to take a look at how a particular report has been laid out. So the first thing that we'll do is come in here to the report library. The report library sits on top of SQL Server. All the reports that are generated inside Management Reporter are stored here. We've got this library set up by period, and then within each period we've got different folders set up for the types of reports that we have. So in this particular folder for our income statements, we could see a number of income statement reports as well as Excel files. You can add other files in here. Excel, Word, PowerPoint, so information. You might have some budget information or supporting schedules or presentations that you want to include in the report library. All this stuff is saved in a secure SQL Server environment. Management Reporter uses Windows authentication to apply to restrict access at the folder or at the particular file level. So in this case, I can view all this information. We'll take a look at a trended report. Here's an income statement, and it's trended out by period with subtotals for each quarter. We're on page 1 right now of 3. You can see a company logo up here, a report date, January, February, March, and Q1. As I scroll to the right in the viewer, we're on page 2. And we can see the next 3 periods and quarter 2 information, and then year to date. So it's a easy environment to view your reports in, as well as secure. We'll go back to the report library, and I'm going to open up one more report. This is the report that will end up taking a look at how it was put together in the designer. This is another income statement report as of June. Most recent 3 periods on the left, description column, and year-to-date information. We've used a tree, so if I browse the folders in the tree, you'll see Denver now is rendered here in the viewer itself. Denver sales, there's our Denver sales. We have drill down capabilities. Pick a row such as sales and double click, and I see the 2 child units displayed, retail and wholesale. Drill on retail, and we see all the accounts that make up that balance, and drill further, and we get to the transactions. So the idea is much like it was in FRX. Present the financial reports and allow you to drill down from the top level all the way down to the underlying transaction detail without needing access to the ERP system. What I'd like to do next is take you into the designer and show the components of this particular report. I go back here into the designer. Here's our report definitions. We've got them organized in a similar fashion by folder, and here's that particular report. And as we go into the report definition, this is where we specify which row, column, and tree were used to create the report, as well as a number of options: the company, the level of detail, whether we want to look at posted or unposted activity, what the report date is, how we want to, where we want this report to go when we run it. A lot of header information. Here's our headers and footers. Where do we want a company logo to go potentially? What type of text or codes, auto text, we want in here. We can get information for the report header, such as company name, unit name, department name. Lots of date and time options, as well as page numbering options. And all this is going to be stored and associated with that one report. On the settings tab, we control information like how do we want the rounding, whether it's, in this case it's to whole dollars, calculation priorities, processing orders, page setup. All that information is going to be specified here at runtime and associated with that report. So the main building blocks, or the building blocks of this report, are the row and the column and the tree, and we're going to navigate to those using these icons here. So here's our row definition for that income statement. Remember that income statement. revenue, sales returns, discounts, net sales, cost of goods sold, and so forth. That has been set up here in the row definition. So these columns are where we apply attributes to the individual rows. So revenue, for instance, is a format row. We just want that to be a descriptive row. If there's an entry here in column J, this is where Management Reporter knows to go out and pull in which dimensions or which accounts. And you can put in any combination. You can use wildcards, individual accounts, you can use ranges, and it can be on any segment. So you don't have to have IT involvement to help you here. You need to know your chart of account or your dimension structure, and you can pull that information in itself by yourself. If there's no entry in column J, that means it's a format row. So in this case, we're pulling in 3 rows with amounts on them. We're going to insert an underscore and then a subtotal. And we just pick the format code, total. And here's the rows that we want to use in the formula. Row 190, less 220, less 250. Sales, less returns, less discounts gives us net sales. Then we put in a blank row, pull in cost of goods sold, another underscore, another subtotal. We go right down the page so we're assured that this is going to foot at the end of the day. We've got our toolbar up here where we can put in bold, italics, underscore, apply different font styles and whatnot, and create a presentation quality report. So we'll navigate back here to the report definition and open up the column. And take a quick look. This is the report again, sales, returns, and discounts, and so forth. We've defined the rows. And now we're going to take a look at the columns to determine how we get the most recent 3 periods, April, May, and June, when the report date is June, as well as year to date. So in the column definition, we use the rows to apply attributes to individual columns. Here's where our description column is going. Row descriptions from the row definition. Whatever row definition is used, the text goes here. To the left of that, 3 financial dimension columns. And we just pick it from the list. And if we choose financial dimensions as our column type, these next 4 rows are applicable. We have to determine whether it's actual or budget, and what year and which period are going to be pulled in. And this is simply the report date. Report date of June 2011 gives us a fiscal year, a base year of 2011, and a base period of June. And the column to the left of this, the only difference is the period code is the prior period. So we run the report for June and we get April, May, and June. If we were to change the report date to July, we would get May, June, and July. So this particular building block is completely reusable. June, April, May, and June. And you can see in this report, we've used a tree. So the next component then that we'll take a look at, we'll navigate back to the report definition and open up the reporting tree. This is a graphical representation of that reporting tree, and it's all based on the worksheet information. And much like the row definition, we specify accounts in here. And in this case, it's usually responsibility centers. And just like the row definition, you can use ranges, you can use wildcards, or you can specify individual segments or dimensions. And you could do this on any of the dimensions that are available to you. Some of these units pull directly from the financial dimensions, and others are roll-ups. So San Francisco Service, for instance, is a roll-up. So is SF Sales. That's just a report based on the child units. The beauty of that is that you can take these units, San Francisco Lab and Studio, those are our 2200s in Department 3 and 4, and I can perform some what-if analysis by just dragging and dropping. I can move those up into the Denver services. So without making any changes to the underlying transactions or balances, we can get a different view of the organization. The reporting tree is also what's used for consolidating different companies. You can see column A in here is where we specify what company to pull from. So in the basic sense, the reporting tree is going to be used for departmental type reporting or reporting on any of the responsibility centers that you have set up. It's also going to be used for creating roll-ups, and some of those roll-ups may not exist in your chart of accounts or dimension structure. And thirdly, the reporting tree is going to be used for consolidating. And I also have the option here to move those units right back. So lab and studio, just undo and put them back to where you had them. So that's the basic idea with Management Reporter, and that is to create the components, save as many options as possible until runtime, change the date, and go. And all this being done without any IT involvement. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation today. Please visit our website often at msxgroup.com and see what else we've got up there for you. Thank you.